All right, we are live. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We are live right now with another FOMO Friday. Really excited to get into the charts today. I see everybody is here today from our panel. And happy Friday. I just want to make sure that I put it out there. Anything that we discuss here today is not financial advice. We are just doing a live market review, looking at the charts. It's for educational and fun purposes purely. And we do share what plays we are in, what we are looking for in the charts, and all of that good stuff. So super excited to get things kicked off here. Bits, how are you doing today?
GM, I'm doing well.
Awesome, awesome.
Excited for some of this price action going into the weekend. We'll see. We'll see if it's going to be a green or a red weekend here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's see. I'm gonna actually quickly share my charts and kind of go over some of the things that I'm looking at, and then we'll get things kicked off.
Beautiful.
Let me share my screen, and if you guys also want to start bringing your charts up, set them up, and then we'll give you some time as well. Okay. Let me get the DEX screener set up as well. Okay, here we go.
Calvin, what's it like being right so much?
Oh boy.
Tired of winning, right? Tired of winning.
Oh man. I don't
It's
know what to
incredible.
say to that.
Okay, so we'll get into this. So first of all, big congratulations to everybody who did catch the move to the downside. Uh, we had this level drawn during some of our last streams, and the reason why, of course, a lot of people were going long here, right, and here, and it was like 74K also was a big level to them. So it was like everybody was really going long at this level because this is supposed to be a support level. And when you have like the entire crypto Twitter buying at a level, then you know price is definitely going to go under it. So this move here, like that was bad. Like any longs after this are very risky, right? Short-term bounces, yes, we did catch some of those, but not like they're not going to work out all the time. The best ones were, of course, the shorts were the safest. But we had a weekly EMA here, right? This 200 EMA, which is what I was watching. That we have this, but then also something under was this 50 EMA on monthly, which is what I was saying, once price gets there, there has to be some sort of a bounce. And then I also mentioned that price does sometimes go under it quite a bit. And it did. It actually went all the way to about 60K, which was a good level. So what you really want to play is you look at what the next big level is going to be if you are at a major moving average, right? So like for this one, it was either 65 or 60. That was like the two closest whole numbers to this. And both were okay, depending on where your stop loss was, right? But now people are, of course, watching this one because guess what? This is the same thing as here, right? So what is it going to do? Going to go under for sure because the entire crypto Twitter is going to be going long here. And so this is basically a pretty significant event here as well and a significant level. But what we need to be also watching is something like this, which happened in 2022. We are seeing a lot of similarities between what happened in 2022. Not exactly, it's not going to be candle by candle exactly the same. We also had 2 green months, and I think I was talking about it quite a bit. There was like a 14K move or 12K move, whatever this move was. We actually did end up seeing the move here, and it was very comparable to the move here, right? Even though the candles look different, but the move was very similar to the move that we saw here. We didn't get the green candles, of course. I was hoping we get a green candle here, but we did not. But it was a very similar move here. And so those are things that you have to remember is what's the upside. And this is what I've called out quite a bit as well during some of the spaces, some of the streams, that those are like you have to be watching. So for here, we had about, it was about 15K actually. And let's see, this was actually very comparable as well. slightly over, but 17K, which is, which is okay. It's always going to have a little bit of a difference. But if you look at it, you had, sorry, let me put this one on. So this one was about 15 to 23. This one was a little bit over 17, but it was very comparable, right? And so now we are looking at something similar to happen here. It's not going to always play out like exactly this way, but this is going to be an interesting thing to watch for, is how price retraced off of this, which is what it's doing right now. What is going to be the next move? Because this price has already retested some of these EMAs to the upside. It could potentially still go to that 85K right here, but it's like, we don't know like how far really it's going to run. We can pretty much say goodbye to the 100K levels now at this point. I'd be very surprised if we get there. I'd welcome it if it gets there, because that means we can get some really lovely short positions there. But it's gonna be less likely at this point, right? So we are definitely looking for more downside here. Now, one thing that I also want to bring to everybody's attention here on the monthly chart. I want to make sure. Okay, so if we draw this level here, is it this? No, this is a log chart. Let me fix that one. We'll come back to this one later. But basically, there is a level that we are watching now for Bitcoin, and it's actually going to be around this number right here, 33K. Let me see how I can change that one to. Do you remember exactly how to find that setting? I can't see it.
What was it to change? What are you trying to change?
Change it from logarithmic.
Oh, just right click on the price scale on the side, so where you actually have the price on the side.
Oh,
Yeah, right click
okay.
there, and then
Yeah, that's
you're
what it
on
was.
log. Yep.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here it is. Yeah, I was like trying to, and I swear, right? Like I was right clicking here. Okay. So it's right here. I'm like, where did it go?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So this is basically a level right here, right? So you have a level right here, which was a nice support zone. We have a support zone right here. And so you could pretty much draw this line as far as you want, because it's going to now act as a support area. And if you put it with the timing, right, which we are thinking is going to be around October right here. And this is really, it's putting us around that 33K. So this is what we are watching, and I'm watching personally for price to bottom out here. And I do believe that this is where we could see a significant bounce. If we come, if we even get there a little bit sooner, there's still going to be a significant bounce off of that. If we get here before December or before October, I'm sorry, there's still going to be a bounce that's going to be significant. But if we get here in October, that would be perfect, because this is where I am watching for a potential bottom, right? I've always said under 50K, because I didn't want to really scare everybody. But Bits and I, we had some conversations, and we are looking at some lower numbers here. It was way under 50K, right? And so now that we are getting very, very close to 50K, this is now a pretty awesome area for people to start kind of paying attention to. This is what I'm watching for a potential bottom. It's some sort of a significant move on this one. So keep an eye on this one. Let's see how it plays out. This is going to be my area. I am, of course, being cautious going into this bull market next cycle, because some charts are telling us a different story, especially on a very high time frame, like a yearly chart. So we are definitely going to be cautious there, but this is a level to watch. Significant move off of this regardless. Big moves, right? Worst case scenario, if we don't get a new cycle, we'll still catch a nice move off of it. So I'm watching this to position myself long on Bitcoin as well as some of the others if we get there in October. If we get there sooner, that's going to be a little bit lower than in that case. But again, there's going to be a significant bounce off of this, because the price has shown us what it does every time it comes here. And this is going to be a third touch, which is usually very, very bullish. So let's watch how it plays out. This is a level that I'm watching. And then one of the small cap plays that I did talk about during the last one, again, this is going to be a risky one, but I think we were sitting at under 200K. This was a level that I had drawn, and I'm actually positioned in it. Oink, it's a meme coin. I don't know the team, not partnered with them. Super risky, but a good KOL sent it to me. And usually a lot of the plays that he has sent me in the past have done well. So I'm in it, and I'm hoping that it can at least get us 1 to 2 million market cap. We'll see how this one plays out, but in it, super happy with the profit so far. So yeah, that's really what my take is. We can talk about Solana and some of the others, but I want to start bringing other speakers up here as well. So I'm going to stop here and I'll bring up Bits. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I can pull it up. Give me 1 sec, and
Sure.
we'll jump into some of this stuff.
And Bits is long, by the way. He caught the long side already, and I don't know if he has already exited or not. He's going to talk about it, but he's long.
Yeah, I caught some decent entries. All right, cool. Let's pull this up then. The play was basically this from down here. I got in here after this low got put in here, and we started curling back up. I was able to grab about 64.8, I believe, was the entry here. And I did actually just close it out. So I opened on 2 different exchanges. I have another position slightly above on a different exchange. That one is still open, but on the main one that I trade on, I did close that out. So we'll see what happens. I still think it has room, but again, I'm more interested in grabbing a short when we get up to this level up here around 74. So, you know, it's close enough. There was maybe a little bit more that I could have left on here, another 5%, 6% to the upside, but overall, pretty happy with that move. If this comes back down though, you know, if this this does like this little little thing up here like that, you know, gives me my short, and then it comes back down here to some of these levels, I might hedge long again somewhere down here potentially. So we'll have to see what the market's looking like, see how high up we get here. If we do come down before going that high, I may hit it one more time just to try and get it up here. We'll have to just kind of play that one out though. So, but right now that was a pretty nice move. Main levels I'm really watching here is, you know, we have previous year low right at around like 74K or so. That was also high of back in March of 2024, and it's also where we bottomed in April of 2025. So this will be a big area. The fact that it didn't hold at all as support means at some point we, you know, if we come back up here, we could reject from that. I'd be very surprised to see us like reclaim that and then consolidate above, but I guess you really can't rule it out yet. But it's not my most likely scenario here. I do think that this will probably get sticky on the way up. And then we did come into this area here that I have marked, which is really was kind of like the key area I was watching even back here when we were kind of chopping sideways. This was a big level that we needed to get above, and when we did, it went onto that parabolic run. So pulled right back into that, which is kind of right here where the center of all that volume is on the profile. So let's see what happens here for BTC. I mean, stablecoin dominance has a big pullback right now currently. I know we've talked about that a lot. That's a big wick on that move up. So funny how well this is tracking to 2021 though, right? So far. So currently we basically just put in this wick here. If we're tracking 2021, right? We just put in this wick right here. You can see that even back then, this move was similar. Went to the upside, left a big wick here, and then it kind of consolidated a little bit, and then it continued. That's exactly where we currently are. Big wick to the upside, should kind of consolidate here for a little bit, and then we see continuation. So this is just a fractal of the price action from back here. So you can see it's doing the exact same thing. You can come back here, you can grab this yourself and just overlay it. This is exactly what this is. This is just 2021, how we topped in 2021, overlaid to current price action and how we're basically topping here how we topped, I guess you should say, because it's now in past tense, how we topped this time around as well. So pretty interesting. Could hang out here for a little bit, go sideways, maybe even go up a little bit in terms of crypto going up a little bit. But total crypto market cap was the other one that we've talked a lot about with these streams here, and even on my own. Came down, fully took out bottom of that wick, which was the area we were talking about. So you can see here, came through all of it, is now trying to close in or above that. So if that happens, you could see some upside, probably to around there. If it goes a little higher, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, at this point, I mean, this to me tells me that we're probably cooling off here for a little while. I'd be pretty surprised if we close the week still just absolutely melting. The size of that wick there, and the confluence that I'm seeing between like stablecoin mirroring 2021, and then total crypto market cap leaving that wick there, and then BTC washing out everything to the downside. I think that's probably going to hold for a little bit. I know earlier on the Wolf Space, people were saying that they thought we were going to go down for it. I don't disagree. I just don't think it's happening immediately. I think we need to probably come up a little bit. We'll see what happens at 74, though. That is the big level that I'll be watching at 74. And I am also going to be watching this is like a channel. Here, I'll put it on here for you guys. So basically grabbing the wick low there, this wick back here, and I'm going to use the body on this one, actually. I'll be watching this channel here as kind of like a volatility range. So yeah, we'll see if it can come up here. I think 74 to 80K will get kind of sticky. I'd be very surprised if we made it up to 85, 86, but it's not impossible. It is kind of that upper stretch. So if if this is kind of chopping here and it manages to go something like that, you could get something like that maybe, where it comes up and projects, and then you go down into the lower 50s for the rest of that. So, but that could take could take another week or so to play out, something like that, maybe even 2 weeks. But other than that, everything else, XRP, took a position on XRP as well. Did take profit on that. Cardano, I took a position on Cardano. I have not TP'd this one. I don't think I'm going to TP Cardano. I've got my stop loss in profit at the moment. But yeah, Cardano, this is just when I look at it here, this is just speaking to me right now. Here, I'm going to hide some stuff just to kind of make it a little cleaner. It's really clean on the monthly. You can see here that you're above 2024's lows. You're above 2025's lows. We came down and basically touched, or almost touched right here, the 2023 low. It's cleared out just about everything Cardano right now. And I'd say there's a pretty good chance you can get a move at least here into this gray zone, potentially up to here, about close to 60 cents, but it may even try and come close to $1 if we can get a favorable close on BTC. If BTC just has to go sideways, and I think some of these alts could run. So essentially, I'd just be looking for kind of like a mean reversion type of idea here after wiping everything to the downside. I would want to see if we close this week here, can we make a run for these highs, and potentially even up here, and I'll leave a runner to see if we can get it up there. But yeah, this to me is looking like it could be a pretty juicy little setup, something like that. Let's say you're entering there. You're at least looking at a 2.5R just to this first level. I think it's potentially coming up here, which puts it closer to about a 5R with about 100% return. And then if it manages to get up, maybe even here, if I'm just being conservative, it could be a 200% move, and it puts you closer to about a 10R trade. If it stretches to the wicks, it's a little bit more. But yeah, I think Cardano looks pretty good. Of course, you need the market to, be conducive to something like this. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's I saw it; it jumped out at me. I'm willing to play that one.
It makes sense too. Others bits, if you look at the others chart, it actually did take out that generational entries. from October 10th. So whenever
yeah.
that happens,
Yeah, this cleared out everything.
yeah, cleared out the
Yeah, we could.
generational.
I mean, it'd be hilarious, I think, at the same time, you know, when everything's dropping like this, people are selling all of their alts right now. They're panic selling all their alts, and imagine alts put in a bottom here and they run it back up to, you know, up here 250 bill. You know, that'd be a nice little swing up at least to here. It's about a 40 to 50% increase in others market cap. And I mean, man, if it went even higher, you know, it'd be pretty wild. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Makes sense. Anything else, Fitz, on your plate?
No, for now I'm just chilling. I'm watching how these main trades close out today. See how Bitcoin closes the US session, and then
The weekly.
We'll closes the weekly. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. I mean, maybe we get some like meme coin plays, alt plays, that type of stuff this weekend. Be happy to play that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have some sort of a chop here, right? Like that's what at least we are anticipating. So I was looking at the chart previously, and last time Bitcoin did hit that 200 EMA on weekly, it had 4 weeks of consolidation in the same area before it crashed through. So we could potentially be seeing something similar.
What I haven't looked at is Bitcoin against like any of the metals. Let me look at those really quickly. Yeah, so silver came down into that big level, and then I want to say I think Bitcoin against gold probably did as well. Oh yeah, that looks pretty washed out to me. I would say here I'm looking for this thing to consolidate a little bit and try and reclaim that channel. So yeah, fun stuff. Was a big move, but again, we could ooh, this one was brutal. We could be getting some short-term change of direction a little bit.
Oh, incredible. And really that was the long positions that you took. Those were phenomenal bits. Did you exit them already, right? You said?
Yeah, I've got a couple still open, but yeah, the big one on BTC I did close, and XRP I took profit. There's a little bit still in there, and Cardano I'm leaving that one alone.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is incredible. I see that we are coming off of that 70K. It's rejecting it so far. Let's see if we can get above it a little bit.
Yep.
I see, Kelvin, you have your charts up, so we'll bring you up here on the stage. Are you ready to go?
I am ready. Let's dig into what on earth just happened and what we're looking at. What's crazy is that the weekly chart has pretty much dictated every move that we've seen since the top. When we left the this green zone, so we lost the 50-week moving average. We came down, found support on the 100, and stayed there for like 2.5 months. Once we put a candle body right on that 100, we lost it. Honestly, to get this close to the 200-week moving average absolutely blows my mind. I did not expect a drop this far. In fact, watching it drop for the past few days was just kind of like, it was just reminding me of the old days of Bitcoin, you know, when you'd lose 30% in a day or whatever. But crazy, just insane. But I have to point out, the weekly candle that we are printing right now is this is incredible. This type of candle formation means that we have had a full selling climax. This selling climax on the weekly is the cumulative downturn from our top, because we've kind of gone down without a break. We had a little bit of sideways, but this is really a market meltdown situation. And when you have a candle that looks like this, if we can close a long tail, high volume candle on the weekly, we've pretty much delayed further downside by about 4 to 6 months. This is going to generate a lot of oscillations. So when Bits was saying, hey, you know, we'll probably hit 74, we'll kind of go up, we'll kind of go down, we're going to be doing a lot of sideways. This is an absolute recipe for sideways consolidation. What will most likely happen is we're going to oscillate up and we're going to oscillate down, and the oscillations are going to get tighter and tighter. but we've essentially defined our range from about 94 to 60. Like, we will not be revisiting 60 for quite a while. This market, because these oscillations take time, we've definitely bought ourselves a couple of weeks of up. You know, how extreme it'll be, I don't know. In fact, there's a pretty strong chance that this will be our line. So if we bounce up, depending on when we get there, if we were to get there next week, we might hit as high as 89, but it'll probably drop according to this line right here is what my expectation is. So if we kind of go sideways and mess around for about a month, we may only get to 80. But this is probably our playground right here, and it's all due to this this climax right here. So this will be shocking to all of you, but I am no longer short. I've closed all of my shorts, and I took a long at 63 on Bitcoin.
What?
So
you closed all of your shorts? All 1,420 of your shorts you closed?
Yes, they are all closed. All the shorts are completely gone. And I'm going to reopen them when we get closer to like 85 and 86. And I'm gonna do exactly what I did before and keep averaging in. But my interest right now, kind of my focus, is my trading bots, because they are volatility based trading bots. And I have about 7 or 8 versions that are running right now. A couple of them did not survive the downtrend. And so they crashed and burned. But that's the beauty of, you know, trading perpetual futures, is that where these bots got liquidated, I just placed a long order once I saw that we had the bottom in, and now I've recovered essentially what the bot was trading. So anyway, it's all good. I kind of wanted to dissect what happened, because this is just really, really educational. So this is the 15-minute chart, and we're looking at kind of the initial move from about 78. And then we started moving down, and we had a bit of a climax here. You can see high volume down at the bottom, and we had a pretty good bounce. And then we stabilized, and then we started moving down, sweeping these lows and sweeping these lows and sweeping these lows. It was crazy to see this falling at this, you know, just without much recovery, and it just kind of kept going. But all throughout the day, I was chiming in on our little, you know, Wolf Spaces chat, and our, you know, lady traders in there. And so we were just kind of chatting, and I was just amazed at the velocity that we were dropping without a selling climax. A selling climax is this it's got to be a high volume spike where there's a quick down and a decent recovery. So here was a quick down, but our recovery was lackluster. In fact, we went sideways for an hour. Let me zoom in so you can see. Sorry. We dropped really fast, and then we consolidated sideways for an hour, and it was like, nope, that's not our bottom. Holy smokes. And then here's another one. We dropped really fast, and then we consolidated sideways, and it wasn't the bottom. Once I saw this formation where we dropped really fast, the volume was even a little bit lower, but it was definitely a very fast move, decently high volume, and then we recovered it really quickly. So in 15 minutes we dropped. In 30 minutes we had fully recovered that. That was my clue, and I went long right here. So this was kind of the, okay, we're in. And then I kind of like to play with these colors, the red zone and green zone and whatever. Exiting a red zone is sort of where you want to place an entry. If you get back into the red zone, you're back in trouble again. But so anyway, I was kind of watching the 5-minute chart, just watching for, you know, any kind of a clean break out of this red zone. But we had these moves down and then back sideways, moves down. And we kind of looked for an exit, but it was just really sideways. There just wasn't the proper high volume drop to the bottom and pull out. And then even this one, we didn't really exit. We didn't exit. We didn't exit. This was close, but then this was that really fast move. And right after we had exited this red zone, right in this area, this is where I took my long. So now let's talk about the price action that we're looking at currently.
Hey, me too. That's almost right where I took my long also.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the behavior of our current chart? Oh, by the way, if you go to the 1 hour chart, this kind of tells you everything you need to know. Here was an attempt, but we went sideways. This was close, but it was really slow, kind of pulling back. It was this long wick that was the moneymaker. That was the one that changed direction for us. So on the 1 hour chart, we are exiting the red zone here. And we're having we kind of did a sweep for the 100. What's likely to happen is we come back and find support on the 50, and then we continue upward. So this is what happens usually on lower time frames. And the number we rejected on is actually on the 4 hour chart. It was the 200 period or the 20 period moving average on the 4 hour. So the 4 hour is still chopping around. It's still messing around. But in my opinion, just looking at our weekly chart, my opinion is that we're not going to revisit this low for quite a while. This strong move on a weekly candle is a selling climax bottom forming type of candle. To just fully undo this in a week is very low probability. I mean, is it possible? Yeah, but it's just low probability. And especially after this long move where we've moved down for about 5 months to kind of culminate in a candle that looks like this, we are absolutely going to be going sideways and getting really choppy for about 4 months. So that's where I'm hoping that the volatility bots will start paying off. So some did really well and some blew up. So I had to live and learn. You got to make some adjustments.
I have a question, Kelvin. So what is that EMA at the bottom?
This down here?
The blue one, blue and green. I can't see your arrow for some reason.
Okay. Yeah, the blue is it's 200 week moving average.
Okay.
And this big fat green is the 50-month moving average. So I kind of created this custom indicator that pulls the next time frame into the view. So if we go to monthly chart, you can see that there's a 50-month moving average moving up here. So when I drop back to the weekly, I can still see the monthly 50 right here. Okay. And then when I go to daily, I can see not only my 50, 100, and 200 on the daily, but I can see the fat weekly averages on my daily chart. Just kind of gives me a view of where we're at.
Gotcha. So on that weekly that you were looking at, do you not think, since we are so close to those moving averages, and they do act like, they do attract the price quite a bit, do you not think they're going to visit that soon? Like sometimes what happens is you have a weekly close like this, and then boom, the next candle will go, they visit those and then try and make a move up.
I don't think so. Just the same way our bull trap didn't quite make it to this average. It just projects weakness, right? So we swing up, we can't quite get there. So there's a ton of weakness in this market. Well, if we swing down this close and we pull back this hard, it's actually a sign of strength. So I think I think the odds of us coming back and actually tapping it would probably be more in line with a breakdown below that. But it would just be really hard to see that from, we moved down 50% from our top. And then to have a candle that looks like this, I just think there's a very low probability. We're talking like in the 1% or something that we'd come back and hit 58 anytime soon. I'm betting we won't touch. We'll break this before the end of this bear market is over. I pretty much I expect that. But that's probably 6 months from now or something, because it's going to be, we've created an oscillation environment for sure. Like we're going
say
to
we've entered Chop City, Calvin.
Yeah, it's going to be really frustrating for traders over the next 4 months because we are absolutely going to fake out the highs and fake out the lows, and we're just going to get tighter and tighter and tighter, and then it'll get boring, and then we'll break out the downside.
Yeah. That's incredible. Anything else that you want to share?
No, that's pretty much the summary. It was just wild, like just crazy to see all this, unraveling so fast. Everyone talks about the God candle of the $10,000 candle on the daily. We've had two negative God candles now, I think. That was just wild.
Oh, that happens. One thing that I'm going to actually quickly share my screen. I think this is going to be one of those, mind-blowing things that you come across and you're like, whoa, what the heck is this? But I'll share my screen real quick here. 1 second. Let's see if I can get to this. Okay, window. Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. So look at this one. This is a monthly chart. So we had previously, when we had a top here, and then the price crashed through this, it actually gave us 52.18% drawdown. And then it went into this 2 to 3, really almost, you could argue it was like almost 4 months of consolidation and a little bit of an upside too, right? And it was 52% drop here. And look at what just happened here also. It's a little bit higher. So we have 52.51. But we will just round it up. So 52%, 52%. And so what you're saying right now, Kelvin, that we're going to go into a few months of consolidation, I could definitely see that. Maybe we do see some green candles finally, maybe green candles up to this. Maybe we'll see on the monthly.
I think bulls will get excited when we start going up and they'll get faked out. And then the bears will get excited, like, oh, here we go again. And then they'll get faked out. It's going to get really hard to trade unless you know that this is the formation that's about to happen.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so I'll go ahead and stop sharing. Price, do you want to bring up your screen? But this was actually mind-blowing when I saw this one. Yeah.
1 second. Sorry, I thought I had it up.
So almost like until May or June, which also gives us that, puts us around this as well. April and May and June were pretty awful. So let's see what happens here.
All right. I think I'm sharing.
Yes, I'm going to bring you up. Okay, here you go.
All right. Weekly chart. I just want to echo a little bit of what Calvin said about, the fell push down. Well, not really a fell push down because, price went down. But volume range analysis, just looking at this weekly candle so far, hasn't closed. So let's see where it closes. But if you just compare that to, like, let's say the previous candle, right? Like, previous candle closed down, it was like 11%. Right now, this candle's about 8-9%. Look at the difference in volume, though, right? Like, massive difference in volume. So smaller range, way higher volume. I pretty much agree with him. Like, this looks, at least for the short term, this looks like we might have flushed out. So, and, I was saying it on Wolf Spaces earlier, that same thing, like, I agree with Calvin as well. I think Bit said it, agree with both of them. I'm expecting some chop. It just kind of makes sense that we, chop around and form a range, right? I don't know. Maybe we come back up here and test this structure break, up around like 75. Do we get up to like 80? Test the bottom kind of this wick right here. Maybe, right? But I'm just kind of expecting how whenever the top of the range forms, that is just like bam, 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 just chopping around, forming nice range. And, I do like ranges, so they will provide good trading opportunities, right? Like, again, price goes under value area low, look for longs, price goes over value area highs, look for shorts, and just kind of just do that back and forth, right? Also, if we go down to the 1 hour, same thing here, right? Like, small body on this candle, small range, left a long wick on high volume, right? Like previous candle, bigger range, lower volume. When I saw this print, I was like, okay, that should be it. That looks flushed. At least in the short term, we should see some higher prices. So same thing, I jumped in a long. And I actually just got stopped out of it. I might have wanted to use a little looser stop, but protect profits, not a big deal. So right now I am looking to see if we do come up here, kind of for a retest of this structure break, which is around like 72, 73K. I might look there for a short. And that's just kind of what I'm talking about. Like, I'm just really looking to see where the top of this move kind of gets put in. And then I just kind of look for a move back down, maybe not as low. I don't know if we'll fill this wick, but, see where that low gets printed and then just kind of vice versa, move back up to the top of the range, move back down to the bottom of the range, and just chop. Like I can totally see that happening. I think we need some consolidation. It just kind of all makes sense, right? Especially when you think like, price loves to move from range to range. They kind of play into each other. So in the real short term, that's just kind of where I'm at. I want to see, where this daily candle closes, how close to its high. I want to see if tomorrow, if we get a follow through or not. Because if a follow through day would show some strength, right? And, that might be the move that gets us up here. Overall, though, like if we just zoom out, let's go monthly time frames. It just still doesn't look good, right? Like again, momentum's just kind of continuously been printing lower highs, just kind of trending down. Momentum to the downside has been printing, lower lows. So just kind of watching that. What's interesting is like if you look at last cycle, even the cycle before that, you can see like, we bottomed out on a downside momentum wave, printing a green dot on both of these, which is just, it's two different weighted momentum waves, right? And that just shows when they kind of cross each other. Anyway, that was pretty much like, okay, bottoms in on both of those. Even if you go further back, same thing happened. So as far as like calling a bottom, it's funny because I also had around like 33K or so for the bottom, maybe we see a little bit higher than that, maybe, 40, 45, something like that. But, time wise and everything, like it does kind of make sense that, we see some consolidation, some sideways chop, maybe go a little higher, like, maybe 85K or something like that. That's going to take some months right there. And then we start making our way back down. And that also comes out to, kind of fitting like what you were talking about earlier, lady, like your October, kind of time frame for what you're looking for a bottom. Right. Also, this is a trend wave indicator. And, every time it got up here, you know, it was like overbought, right? And I mean, it didn't call the tops exactly, but it did kind of get pretty close to them, right? So like if and you can see like we're nowhere close to oversold yet. Like it's kind of really just starting, right? Which is pretty wild, but you know, it is what it is. Let's see if we chop the time in half. You can see same thing, you know, printed oversold down here, which was pretty close to the bottom of the bear. So we're not anywhere close yet. So it's going to take some time. Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the trend wave will get all the way down there, but it should get close, right? And again, right now we're not anywhere close. So yeah, overall, you know, higher time frames is just kind of what I'm expecting. Also, the quarterly's looking pretty interesting as far as, you know, I saw Nick Cipher posted something on this earlier, just talking about the divergence on momentum kind of playing out. You know, kind of showing like, look, like the selling, you know, we haven't even hit like the red meat yet of the selling, right? Like I could totally see this kind of starting to turn, round off, come back up, put in a lower high, and then off to the races, to the downside we go. Like to me, that just kind of makes sense. Yeah, so you know, again, just chop if that happens. So these are the things I'm looking at on higher time frames. I think everyone else before me kind of did a pretty good job on you know, letting everyone know where they're at. I really don't have too much to say currently, besides, you know, that's just kind of what I'm looking for. Where today's candle closes, if we have a follow through day, where the weekly candle closes, and I'm looking for a top of a new range to form, right?
Yeah.
So that's just pretty much where I'm at. If we do get up here, would be great if we get up in like the low 80s or something, because, you know, I was short the world when Bitcoin got above 120, right? Like really started selling all my Bitcoin above 120. And just started layering in shorts, hedging, and then, you know, started going more and more heavier to the short side. And yeah, I closed those out, you know, a while ago. So since then, I'm like, yeah, can we get a bounce here so I can short at higher prices? Because just shorting down, you know, like in the 70s or, you know, 60s, anything like that just didn't feel right to me. Of course, when we were in the 70s and all that, like I really didn't expect price to kind of get down here as fast as it did. But, you know, it happened. But it just doesn't, you know, price just doesn't go straight down, right? And it got to the point where it's like, okay, the bears are going to start getting real greedy if they're still like, you know, pounding the order books with shorts down here. Right. So, yeah, you know, I just felt like the bears might need to get, you know, the greedy bears might need to get punished a bit. So, yeah, this bounce completely makes sense. And overall, just looking for a range to form. Yeah. Don't have too much more to add other than silver. Silver's wild. I posted about it like the day before the dump. Actually, I caught a really nice short on silver. Man, I did not expect it to come down as fast as it did. Like, you know, yeah, I mean, this weekly candle still hasn't closed yet, and these weekly support resistance zones are still valid until the candle closes, and they become not valid if the candle body closes through them. and you know it sliced through this support, but came down and bounced dead off of this one, and now here we are back above this. So
Man, the silver dems really rugged that for sure.
Yeah, it's just something else I'm looking at to see if we can get a close like back above this support zone, right? Because if I think if the silver bulls want to see any kind of higher prices, they really need to recover this area right here, and it's battling right now. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I'll pass it. Yeah, good luck out there. You know, stay safe. Don't get chopped up. I think we can all agree on like predictive wise what we're kind of expecting, which is that some chop, consolidation, a range to form. So if you have that, like Calvin said, it's going to conditions like that can punish both bulls and bears, right? If they're not expecting that kind of price action. However, if you are expecting that kind of price action, then you know what to look out for, right? So whenever you feel like a move is getting overextended to either the upside or the downside, you know, as far as that fair value price goes of that range, you know, to be looking to exit, like, okay, we're above the value area high, start exiting my longs, you know, maybe put on a trailing stop for a runner just in case, and start looking to hedge against that with the short side, right? And then once we get down below the value area low, you know, to start doing the same exact thing the opposite way. And if you have that in mind, then you can do very well in an environment like that, just trading that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. A lot of times, those are the easiest trades, which I find very interesting because it's chopping a lot of people up. For the majority of traders, it might be like the hardest trading environment to be in. But if you know how to trade ranges, it actually is like, oh, this is a very easy, nice trading environment right here, right? So you just kind of, have to know what to look for and kind of, you know, expect it. But again, you know, Bitcoin loves to go from range to range and play into ranges, right? Like, it just loves to, which is interesting because we found this bottom right off the point of control of this previous range right here. And that's what I mean when I say they like to play into each other. The ranges do. So all right. That's it. That's it for me. I'll pass it.
Great takes there, Price. Thank you so much for that. You know what, I'm actually looking at a post right now on X, which is talking about how they are manipulating Bitcoin again. If you really think Bitcoin went to 70K with no reason, you're completely wrong. And then they're
okay. I'm going to bring something up real quick on my chart, lady trader, and I'll bring it back up just because of this manipulation thing. I just want to show this, but go on. Let me get it ready.
That's fine. So I'm going to actually bring up my screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Because we're going to see this a lot, and we are already seeing some of these manipulation conversations, and it's not what crypto Twitter says it is. And it's really important for you to recognize that this is absolutely not true when we see things like this. I don't know this individual. It just showed up on my timeline, I guess, at the right time. Here we go. Okay. So this one here, right? They're manipulating Bitcoin again. Look at the flows. Binance bought this much. Coinbase bought this much. All of these entities bought all of these Bitcoins. And it was these many Bitcoins worth about 4.5 billion in just 1 hour, which is what pumped to 70K. That's not organic demand. That's a coordinated inflow. I mean, this is I don't know what to say to this person anymore, but this is not true. Like, when Binance is not really buying, Binance talks about when they're buying, right? They were buying 100 million worth of Bitcoin every day almost, right? So that's true. That part is true. But when we see inflows like this, it's because the market is determining that the level was worthy of that buy. at 60K, that was a good level to buy, right? And so there were some major moving averages there. 60K is a nice whole number right before 50K, right? Several different reasons why people would buy. And so when retail traders and other people are buying, of course, these entities are buying, right? Because if Binance users buy Bitcoin, Binance has to go buy the Bitcoin to balance out their sheets, right? Because it's an artificial market, essentially. When Binance gives you Bitcoin to buy, you buy it, and then Binance buys the Bitcoin. That's how it works. If we talk about Wintermute, I mean, they provide liquidity to CME and so many other entities. They provide liquidity to Robinhood. So it's not Wintermute just going and buying. They are buying it for the entities, and those entities have users. So if Robinhood users are going to buy Bitcoin, if I go to Robinhood and I buy a Bitcoin, where do you think that Bitcoin comes from? Robinhood is not going to give me that Bitcoin from that, right? They're going to have to put in that order somewhere, because all of these, what you need to recognize, every exchange that there is, their own markets are created by them, right? It's the same with Forex brokers. Those brokers have their own internal markets. And so that is something that you need to remember. So they are going somewhere else to buy that, to balance out their book. So their artificial exchange it gives you that organic price that it actually is, right? From the market. So
Yeah, I mean, and that
that's
explains the
what it is.
arbitrage too. To anyone who doesn't
Yeah,
understand
exactly.
like why prices are different between exchanges, that's exactly why the way Lady Trader explained it. That's exactly why there's
Yeah.
arbitrage.
Yeah, I like the name of
Exactly.
these spaces up here. One Slacker speaking in V-shaped recovery, right? The one
No.
above that, Bitcoin
Oh, Frank
bottom
Kruger's in
or
there
bear
too.
trap. Isn't
Love
a
that.
Yes.
Bitcoin, if this is a Bitcoin bottom, wouldn't that be a bear trap or something? I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
pretty funny to me. But yeah, real quick, if you want to share my screen again,
Yes, I'll go ahead
I'd
and
like to
bring you
just
up.
point this out real fast as far as manipulation goes. Okay, Benford's law. All right. If you're interested in this, go do a little research on it. And this is the same model they use, like forensic accountants use to find, money laundering and trickery in books when the books are being cooked. This is the same model they use to find voting fraud, right? And you can also apply it to the markets, right? So as you can see, Bitcoin, if it follows Benford's law, it's an organic market, right? And you can like zero down you can get deep where like you can start spotting like spoofing and wash trading on deviations. Usually deviations around 4 to 6, 7 to 8, might show a little wash trading, might show a little spoofing going on. But overall, this Bitcoin's price action follows Benford's law pretty much to a T, right? Same with like the S&P, the NASDAQ, all of that. Now, if you take the same model and you look across the altcoin markets, right, then you're going to see a very different story. As a matter of fact, let's see what link. Okay, that's a non-organic market right there. Does not follow Benford's law, right? There's a lot of shady stuff going on right there with Link. For whatever reason, Link's always anyway. So, yeah, organic market. Well, okay, the sample size isn't the biggest. I'm on the daily. Sample size isn't the biggest, right? So basically, real quick, this 30% is very close to 29.59%, which Benford's law to price action, 17.6%, 17.75%, very close. It follows it very close. Okay, let's go to the 1 minute real quick. Oh, a much bigger sample size, and look, pretty much follows it to a T, right? So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up over the whole manipulation thing, right? Like, yes, there's spoofing that goes on. There's definitely wash trading. Like, I think Binance wash trades something like $30 million plus every day worth of Bitcoin, right? Just wash trading it. And the reason for that really isn't so much like prop price up or, you know, whatever. It's so they can show higher trading volume on their platform than what actually exists. Right. So, yeah, these things, you know, spoofing, wash trading, all of that, it does happen. It happens all throughout crypto. You know, you can't really do that in equities. You know, you'll go to prison for it. But point being, there are lots of markets in crypto that are not organic markets, right? Bitcoin isn't one of them. Bitcoin is an organic market for the most part, but, you know, like I said, you can spoofing, wash trading, whatever, right? But it's not to the point where it really even like deviates it from Benford's law, you know, in the grand scheme of things. So you got some guy just saying stuff on X like price down, so manipulation because I got hit on a trade and I say so, so price is manipulated. Or you can actually use a mathematical model to be like, okay, well, is there any facts to that? Right? Like, is that actually happening? Because lots of people just like to be like, yeah, price down, so it's got to be manipulation. It's definitely not me. You know, they are tricking us. They're playing games with us. That's what's going on. But, you know, that's it. It doesn't show that. If it showed that, then I'd be right there with them. Like, yeah, look at this model. It proves that there's massive manipulation going on in this market. But it doesn't. It's mostly organic. Almost follows it perfectly, right? So anyway, that's my rant about that. I just, you know, we hear this so much all the time that it's like, yo, stop. Can y'all just stop, please?
I love that. Thank you so
You
much for
should
going over it.
you should get a meme where it's like Judge Dredd, bad price, and it's just like instead of I am the law, he'll just say like follow Benford's law. Or it's like
Yes.
I don't know, it'd be really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
a meme for that. No, most people don't even know about Benford's law, and they wouldn't like, especially on CT. Like, what the heck? Unless you come from, you know, TradFi and have a good understanding. So that's there too. But great one, great takes there. I'm gonna go ahead and add William to the stage now. Go ahead, William.
Yeah, I don't want to harp on Bitcoin too much. I mean, I just have a lot of agreements with, you know, what you and Calvin and pretty much everyone had on their analysis here. And I mean, Ichimoku here just played out so well. This is the weekly chart right here, as you can see. I mean, we just sunk right below the cloud there and just like tanked all the way to the 200 EMA there and then bounced up like Calvin said. I mean, people are screaming manipulation. Clearly don't look at stuff like this. They don't look at they don't watch our videos. They don't follow us on X because if they'd been watching FOMO Friday every week now, they would understand that this was just bound to happen. I definitely have to agree with Calvin too on the consolidation we're going to get. I definitely think we're chopping here for quite a while. I'm not sure about the time frame. 4 months, 4 to 6 months sounds about right. Before we continue lower, according to what you put up there too, Lady Trader. So I think all in all, it's going to get harder and harder for traders to really make money in this tight kind of oscillating consolidation phase here. But I mean, if you're trying to scalp, best of luck to you. I'm waiting until we get way more clear kind of consolidation, similar to what we saw back in the day here in this area before I even consider opening any kind of longs or spot longs, if you will. So that's my Bitcoin analysis. But I'm going to actually point out something. I want your guys' take on this too. So I was watching as markets were just like seizing up and just like collapsing everywhere. I was watching Hype token. So Hype did pretty well. I mean, this is the past couple of days on the daily chart, and it hasn't really done much. It's just kind of held here. On the daily chart here, there's obviously not a whole bunch of data, which definitely hurts Ichimoku here. But I mean, we're above the 200-day EMA, and we're above that red cloud there. There's a lot of bullish indicators on Ichimoku on the daily here. But I would love your guys' thoughts on Hype token. I'm not sure if you guys saw it. Kind of just not dip as much as everything else. It actually pumped a little bit yesterday. I would think it was up like 4%. if I'm not mistaken, but it's since come back down. So I would love your guys' thoughts on Hype Token.
I was watching Hype Token as well. It was actually pumping quite a bit, and I'm like, oh wow, the entire market is down, but Hype was up. I haven't traded it pretty much. Like I'm sticking to majors right now. But Bits, do you have any takes on that? Did you look at the chart for Hype?
Bits is like, nah, I'm good. Bits is not hype at all. Bits can't be hype.
Bits is not hype. He cannot be
Yeah.
hyped. Oh, Bits created this.
I
really
haven't
cool-
really looked at it. I know like Lisa's been trading it a lot, and some other people. But you know, the fact that it was showing that relative strength against the market is a good sign, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it
can
looks
you guys
like
see
what
that?
time frame is
Like
that?
that-
Daily?
That's all I'm gonna say is you know, like sure, can it go higher? Maybe, but you're
Right.
you
It
know,
does look like it wants to pull back though, just when you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
by eye.
This
like
was
just
like
by looking at it
6
by
months
eye.
support, right? This was like 6 months of support when it was above it. It lost it. Here was your bearish retest that sent it down. Now you just came back into it. In my opinion, this thing looks like it just wants to head back down again. So
Yeah.
that's all I'll say about Hype.
Yeah, I think that $36, $38 range was spot on there. I think there's a lot of resistance. That's why I haven't longed this, because obviously there are indicators that are saying, hey, go long, but I'm very cautious about that, especially in these kind of market conditions. So I think you're spot on there. But I want to see it break like 36, $38 here and kind of hold steady before I even consider longing something like this. And you can tell too, if you look at the forward indicator on Ichimoku right here, that green cloud is just so pathetic. Like it's so tiny and like whimpering. It's like not much bullish momentum there on Hype. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Something else I'm looking at, obviously, technically speaking, this is like god awful looking, but this is a deepen project I've been following. I'm actually holding on to their token, or earning their token, GeoNet. It's a GPS improvement network. Basically, it's RTK. I don't want to get into all that stuff. We talked a little bit about it on the deepen stream on Monday, lady. But essentially, they're making more revenue than they ever had before. Their network's growing. They're doing great. One thing I like about it, though, is that it's performing relatively well against the rest of the market. I mean, granted, you've had these like days and days and days of just, downturn, nothing but like just red. But compared to the rest of the market, I mean, this thing was trading at, I think, about 14 cents before we had that massive dip, went down to 11, came ripping back up to 13. And there's a bunch of revenue coming into this token. So something in the deep end space we've been kind of paying attention to is GeoNet, just for the fact that it hasn't been as horrific as stuff like Helium and Honey token. And I mean, hell, it's ripped up 14% today. You have other deep end tokens ripping up 50% today. I think there's something to be said there that maybe there's, not enough meaningful revenue entering the token just yet, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on. Maybe at some point when we pass this EMA, we kind of, rip up past the Ichimoku here. Just something to keep an eye on. I'm not actively trading this as of yet. Like I said, I'm earning the token. But I do like its performance compared to the rest of the market. So those are the only things I'm pretty much looking at. I don't want to sound too repetitive against everyone else's comments on Bitcoin, of course. I mean, I gave my 2 cents there. What's up?
If you have like the revenue, obviously, like the market cap, all of that stuff, all that information should be out there. Then you can use something similar. You might have to play around with the model some, modify it some, use AI, ask AI a bunch of questions, plug all the data in, all of that, and find some kind of fair valuation for it, right?
Yeah.
Like this is something I did with Radium. So like in equities, you can use something like, like a CAPM model or, whatever. There's a bunch out there, but yeah, do a little bit of research, figure out what, you want to do, which model you want to use. And you can find like a mathematical fair valuation pretty much and figure out like, okay, so is it undervalued or not? Right. And how, if it is undervalued, by how much, right? Like, again, I did this with Radium, like kind of at the beginning of earlier, like kind of the beginning of the bull market. Just because I had all the information and I kind of had to use a modified like model because, it's not equities, right? It's like, but all the information, all the data was out there, like how much revenue they're pulling in, you know, the float of the coin, just all of that. And, you know, I could use a benchmark, you know, like Bitcoin or, you know, there's the S&P or bonds, you know, to kind of judge against, if that makes sense. Anyway, point is, you can use AI nowadays and ask it a cajillion questions until you kind of figure this thing out and start playing around with it and get it to check your work and all of that stuff and find out if it's undervalued or not.
Yeah,
right. Like
yeah.
mathematically
I meant
speaking.
to run those. I meant to run those prior to the stream there, but yeah, a lot of people do run those analyses on these deepen projects. There's discounted cash flow models people run on here. I mean, hell, if you run that on Helium, for instance, an HNT, I think the fair valuation with their current revenue is at like $1.80, maybe $2, and their token's trading at 80 cents. So you could argue that it's undervalued.
Right.
Yeah.
Eventually the market, you know, will correct itself to that fair value, or at least somewhere in the ballpark. A lot of times get over, like with the radium, it not only did it correct, you know, because no matter which way I ran it, I just kept coming back with this thing is massively undervalued right now. So I took up a decent sized position on it, and yeah, it corrected right into that fair value and just kind of hung out there for a while, and then like just took off to the point where it just got, you know, kind of opposite side of that spectrum, where it's like, yo, now this thing's way overvalued. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
no, you're spot on. You're spot on with that. That's one thing I like about Deepin so much, is that you can run, you know, those valuations on there, that analyses on there, and figure out a fair value for these tokens relatively quickly. And I mean, I'll share this tab too. This is a site that I use all the time, Deepin Pulse. A buddy of mine made this in collaboration with several other people. And you can look at just, you know, 30-day annualized revenue for all these protocols. I mean, there's $11 million there ARR for Helium. You have almost 7 million with GeoNet. It's on track to, I think, reach 9 million by the end of this year, with how many people are using their network, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of just use this website to review those ARRs for those deepins there. But all in all, I mean, revenue's looking good in the deepen space. Again, that's not a new story. We talk about that every week. Token prices obviously down bad. Today they're up really nicely. I mean, hell, like I said, Nadix tokens up 40%. You had Helium jump up 20%. I think it fell down like at the 60 cents or maybe even 70 something cents when Bitcoin wicked lower there. But all in all, looking good. Looking good for Deepin, just in the revenue side of things. Token not investable as of yet, but hopefully that changes. So back to you, lady.
Love it. Thank you so much for going over that. And yeah, we had a really awesome Deepin focused stream last week, and we're going to continue. We're going to bring William back for some more reviews and everything, and we'll basically, you know, talk about all of those Deepin projects that he's in, where he's actually participating in the ecosystem and earning rewards. And some of the stuff that he talked about was actually free tokens, basically, and you know, for just using it, right? It's like a software-based Deepin where you don't necessarily have to invest anything. You're just earning rewards, which is really awesome. All right, so I'm going to start some closing comments now. We're going to bring up Kelvin. If you have any final thoughts or comments that you want to leave us with today.
Yeah, I think there was a huge lesson that was learned over the past couple of days. And this might stir everyone up, so hopefully it doesn't make our stream go too long. But I actually think that the ETFs made the little bit of overextension to the downside possible. And what I mean by that is that, you know, for all the talk that we've got all these institutions that are these diamond-handed, you know, they can't sell for 60 years because this is going into people's retirements and they can't touch it, and it's just going to be a buy and hold forever and ever and ever. The ETFs did provide the ability to scale in at, you know, in large volumes that were just never, you know, accessible in the past. But they also facilitated the ability for people to panic sell at volume with the click of a button. There are a lot of old OG Bitcoiners that converted their Bitcoin spot to ETFs, and it was for tax advantages and this and that. But when your nerves get the best of you, I don't care if you're retail or if you're, a hedge fund guy or some big asset manager, the fact that you're putting any money into Bitcoin already kind of shows that from a purely institutional standpoint, you are pretty risk averse and you're sticking your neck out just a little bit. When the market is dropping the way it does, and you can just open your brokerage account and sell, $500 million worth of Bitcoin at the click of a button, that type of ability to sell on fear and just completely panic sell is absolutely exacerbated. I honestly think that the chart would have followed a little bit more of traditional rules and perhaps found support at a higher level if it hadn't been for the ETFs, where we had people with access to huge portfolios that were not necessarily even panic selling, but also shorting in earnest, like way beyond what their ability normally would have. So I think ETFs have a lot to do with the amount of velocity and volume that we saw yesterday. Proof of that is that BlackRock did its highest volume day in history, over $10 billion worth of volume. It was probably because of the move also, but it was also people, losing their minds and clicking in and out. And then the other side of that is that when the market closed, that's when we had our final flush out and the market stabilized. So once U.S. markets closed, that essentially drove the nail in the coffin of all of that excitement. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. No one likes seeing massive sums of money melting off their screen, right? Like, I don't care how long you've been in these markets or what kind of tolerance you have. Like, all we can do is manage risk, and no one likes to see, because it's funny, right? Like, you would hear about with all these big players getting in the markets now, that's going to set a floor, and downside volatility will not be anything like we've seen in the past. So you have a lot of these guys that are not used to this degen kind of volatility, right? Especially for us that have been in crypto for a while and actually play degen plays, right? Like, hey, what's the wallet address of the next poo-poo dog cat coin that is backed by absolutely nothing but some community of degens that's all just trying to play this money grab game and dump on each other then, right? Yeah, but all these, normies, I guess, they're not used to any of this kind of stuff at all. And they were told oh yeah, it's a maturing market though, and all of that kind of stuff, that, massive downside volatility, that's in the past now. You don't have to worry about it. And then it's 125, Granny bought Bitcoin at 120 over Thanksgiving or something because her boomer son pushed her to do it or whatever, right? And then boom, 125 to 60K, blam, and they're oh God, you told me this wouldn't happen. Oh, it's a scam. That's what I was saying over the past week. I was we're starting to get to that stage in the cycle where all the Bitcoin is a scam people are about to come out, just like when we got long in the tooth. Remember, we were saying this a year and a half ago. We're going to be long in the tooth of the bull run when all the 4-year cycle people come out of the woodworks and start being loud as hell and saying the 4-year cycle's dead and all of that stuff, and super bull run, all of that. Once you start hearing all of that and it gets really loud, it's like, yo, I need to start getting the hell out of this market and start layering in shorts. Right. And this is why. This is why over the past like 6 months or, 3 months, whatever, once Bitcoin got above 120, this is why we were all on spaces like, listen, sell. If you're not selling, hedge. At least hedge. Just y'all don't know what the downside is like, especially if this is your first cycle. Right.
Yeah.
And even if this is your second cycle, the first one might not have scarred you bad enough where it's stuck in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. This is why. Take profits, hedge, like manage your freaking risk. Like just don't moon boy it forever long. Bears suck.
Yep.
I mean,
So unless
none
you
of that
had-
means.
unless you bought-
Sorry for my rant. Sorry for my rant.
No,
I'll
no, no.
stop
No,
because I could
you're
go
good,
on
but-
and on and on about this. But yeah,
No,
Bitcoin's a scam.
Sense, which in which case hold it forever, doesn't matter. But yeah, Price, since you already had the mic, you have any final thoughts or comments?
I think that was it. Bitcoin's a scam. All those people are about to come out the woodworks, and people are about to get chopped up. It's about to get real interesting. So just look, especially if you're new to trading, you want to like learn the skill set, right? Like if you're not trying to be active, like an active trader and all of that, then your best bet is to probably just invest, sit back, wait for lower prices or start DCAing into positions, right? But keep in mind, you're doing that with a real long-term time frame. And you have to play out different scenarios in your head. Like, yeah, okay, the cycle might be changing. What happens if next cycle Bitcoin doesn't make a new all-time high? Or what happens if we do go into some prolonged bear market, right? So you have to play out these scenarios and figure out how you are going to barbell your overall portfolio, right? If you're trying to get into more active trading, my advice right now is to use small amounts of money to do that until you've paid the market your tuition.
Yes, and learn how to draw the lines correctly so that you don't have to throw the books away for TA and, go into a hiding mode when Bitcoin is crashing. So make sure that you're learning how to draw the lines correctly. That's super important. All right, William, we'll bring you up next. Any final thoughts or comments? I cannot hear William. Okay, I saw him unmute and now he's muted again. Nope, can't hear you. All right, we'll go to Bits of Wealth. Bits, any final thoughts or comments from you?
Can you guys hear any of those sound effects, by the way?
yeah, we can.
I couldn't hear. I can't hear it, but maybe because I'm just live here on
Hello.
StreamYard.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there's William.
I can hear.
Perfect.
we can hear him.
Yeah, sorry, my AirPods were disconnected for some reason. That was really weird. Yeah, I guess quick final thoughts, and we'll throw it to Bits. I want to echo everything everyone said here. I mean, this is a very interesting time. I personally get very excited when I see market drops like this because a lot of opportunities start presenting themselves. Granted, you just got to be really, really careful. But overall, I think we are probably going to be heading lower here. I'm hoping we do because I want to just max long at some point. And hopefully make some generational wealth in the next bull cycle here. But maybe there's some short opportunities, maybe there's some long ones. Just keep testing your investment thesis, keep double checking, keep researching, keep doing your own research. Of course, love doing these streams. Thank you so much, Bits. I'll throw it to you.
Go ahead, Bits.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know that I have a whole lot to add. I mean, these guys already gave some great takes. I would just say, I would say right now, I guess if I have to close with anything, is just be patient, be willing to wait for the setups that are worth risking some capital for, and always have some kind of plan in mind, have some kind of strategy in mind. So, and stick to it. If you said you were going to buy at a certain level, because you did your homework, you did your due diligence, and that's a level that fits your short-term or long-term plan. You gotta have the system in place to be able to execute on that. And then same thing with taking profits. So, but yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot to add. It's been crazy last like week and a half, and I think we're getting a little bit of relief here. Excited to see the sentiment possibly shift on the timeline. I think I'm gonna have some fun with that one, watching sentiment kind of flip here on the timeline. So, but yeah, appreciate everyone who's tuning in, who's listening to these, and appreciate all you guys up here that are jumping on and doing these FOMO Fridays with us. So these are good.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for co-hosting it with me, Bits, as always. And yeah, it was an exciting week. I mean, finally, everything that we've been talking about all these years, coming to fruition and us catching those moves to the downside. And now, of course, we are looking for a couple of weeks of good price action here, choppy price action, of course, before we make new lows, which we will make new lows. And one thing that I would leave everybody with is go back and look at the charts and see what happened previously in 2022. So you want to start looking at what happened the first quarter and second quarter. The first quarter, of course, the downtrend that we've seen so far is organic without any major like big news, kind of like Luna or FTX that we saw previously. So that first 52% crash that we saw previously was very similar to the 52% crash that we've seen this time without any major news. And then, of course, after that, a couple of months of choppy price action, some green candles, and then came the Luna, which is what really it brought the price down significantly. So now it makes me wonder if there's going to be any kind of major things coming up around summertime or before, April to June timeframe, where we could potentially see that downtrend. Right, there has to be some sort of a news to bring the price down. Not necessarily always, but let's see what happens. What's the reason that the markets are going to give us for that downtrend until we get to hit that 33K, 33 to 35K mark on Bitcoin, which is coming up by October this year, according to historical data. So we'll see how it plays out. Super excited for the week coming up next week. Bits and I will be jumping on more live streams. We'll be doing live trading sessions together, so it's going to be fun. And of course, sometime this month, again, we will be bringing up William for another deep-end discussion, because we want to dive into the platforms that he's using to make his wealth in deep-end. And he's going to basically keep on building during these bear markets. And it's going to be awesome once the bull market comes in. So we'll talk about all of those things. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of the day and weekend. And we'll see you again next week. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks, everybody. Bits, Calvin, William, and Bat Price for joining us today as well. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Take care.